Hello and welcome to my Minecraft Hardcore series. Now I know if you're watching this video, you've probably seen Hardcore Minecraft before. But if you haven't, here's how it works. Basically, if you die in Minecraft, you die in real life. Well, you don't really die in real life, but you do lose your entire world. So definitely avoid dying. But I want to make this the best start to Minecraft Hardcore possible. So in this episode 1, I'm gonna get maxed out equipment, defeat the Ender Dragon and the Wither, and get the beacon and the Elytra. Then after I do all that, I'm gonna build a huge mega base. But right now, we need to start at the beginning. So we'll get some wood and stone tools. Then I'm gonna need to get some food. Alright, now the next step is to upgrade my stone to iron and make full iron gear so I'm more protected. Alright, now I'm all blinged up with my iron armor, but the iron doesn't give me the maximum protection. So I'm instantly gonna ditch the iron armor and go get some diamond armor. So cue the epic montage. Okay, now I can throw away this old poopy armor and put on my diamond armor, which now gives me full protection. So now what I need to do is go enchant my armor and tools. And the best way to get the enchants I need is through villagers. So I'll find a village, I'll make a prison, I'll make a nice house for the villagers. Then I'll use a lectern on the villagers to make them librarians, and I'll keep breaking and replacing the lectern until the librarian gives me the trade that I need. And here's a list of all the enchanted books that I need. But before I can actually get any of these books is by finding a good way to get emeralds. And luckily this village is next to a jungle biome. So what I'll do is I'll just chop down the big jungle trees, I'll craft that wood into sticks, and I'll use those sticks to get emeralds. And now that I have a good way to get emeralds, I can start checking books off the list. So here's Feather Falling, Unbreaking 3, Looting 3, Sharpness 5, Fire Aspect, Mending, Power 5, Protection 4, Sweeping Edge 3, Efficiency 5, Infinity, Silk Touch, and all the books that I didn't check off the list, I just use my enchanting table to get them. But now the only problem is I don't have enough levels to combine the rest of these books with my sword. So I might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone here and go fight the Ender Dragon, which I think I could do, you know, full diamond armor, and I feel like I'm a pretty good gamer. So, you know, hopefully I don't die, because that would be tragic. I have spent quite a bit of time in this world. But let's not focus on the negatives here, and make a nether portal so we can get blaze rods and ender burrows. Okay, nether portal done. Now let's go find out if we spawn near a nether fortress or not. I really want to spawn next to a fortress so I don't have to go looking, but it doesn't look like there's any fortress on this side of the nether portal, and there's nothing on this side either. Fine, I guess I'll go look for one. Be right back, guys.
1 day later.
Alright, I found the nether fortress. I took a little day break, but now all we have to do is just farm up these blaze rods. Okay, that should be enough blaze rods. Now we're gonna bribe these piglins with gold so they can give us some ender pearls. So let's first make a cage for them. Then just sit here and trade with them until we get all the ender pearls we need. Okay, and just like that, we now should have enough ender pearls. Let's now make the blaze rods into blaze powder. Then combine the blaze powder with my ender pearls to make eyes of ender. Now we can throw the eyes of ender and it will lead us to a stronghold that the end portal is in, which should be right here. Oh, that's awkward. It isn't here. Nobody saw that, right? Yeah, no one saw that.
Sorry.
What I meant to say is that the stronghold is down here. And voila, we're here. Now we just have to put the ender eyes in their little sockets. Then let's flip and jump in. Okay, now we're up here. All I have to do now is just destroy all the Ender Dragon's healing crystals. And that should be all the crystals I need to destroy. Now it's time to see if I remember how to kill the Ender Dragon with a bed. So I think I put the obsidian here and the bed here. Ow, ow, yeah. No, I do not remember how to do that at all, but... I mean, I got a little bit of his health off, so that's cool. But let me just do the rest of this fight normally. Okay, I just need one more hit. And boom shakalaka, baby. Ender Dragon down. Now I need to collect all his juicy XP. Okay, now hopefully that should be enough XP to enchant my sword fully. Now let's slap all these enchants on. And boom, just like that, I got a fully enchanted diamond armor and fully enchanted diamond tools. Now the last thing I need to do to complete my first goal is to make these diamond tools and armor into netherite tools and armor. And you should know the drill by now. Cue the epic netherite mining montage. Now all we have to do is put the netherite through the furnace to make netherite scraps. Then combine those scraps with gold to make a nice solid brick of netherite. And put that netherite brick on all my gear. And just like that, fully enchanted netherite armor and tools. Now the only thing I have left to do on my first goal is to get a totem of undying. So let's go find a woodland mansion, slay everyone inside the woodland mansion, and take this guy's baby away from him. And don't you guys think this totem is so handsome and cool? Yeah, I don't know. I just can't put my finger on why it's so handsome, cool, rich, and tall. Like, it's just so cool. Anyway, that's now all of goal 1 complete. Now all I have to do before I start building my mega base is get the elytra and kill the wither. So first, let's get the elytra. And even though I got the totems of undying, which basically give you a second life, the void will still kill you even if you have a million totems of undying. So I'm gonna be building these bridges very, very carefully. Okay, and to actually find an elytra, we need to find an end city with a flying boat attached to it. Which, as you can see, this one does not have a boat attached to it. This one also has no boat. But this one does have a boat. So let's take down all the ops. Now let's take down this last one. And the elytra is now all mine. Now the next step is to kill the wither. And the reason I got the elytra first is so I can fly around the nether fortress like this and find a bunch of wither skeletons. So I can get 3 of their skulls to spawn a wither. And there's 1 skull, 2 skull, and 3 skull. And now, since I'm in hardcore, I want to kill the wither in the safest way possible, which I can do by going under the teleporter in the end, place 5 obsidian like this, place the soul sand down, and then place his heads down. Then he just gets stuck in the bedrock and I can easily kill him. And don't mind the endermen in the background because I tried to do something and it did not work, so please ignore them. And just like that, we got the nether star, and now we can make a beacon. And boom, just like that, we have goal 1 and 2 completed. Now I can finally work on building my mega base, which I know, at this point you've probably seen a lot of mega bases. But instead of me building just a massive base with no purpose behind it, I want to have my base have lore involved in it. So I'm going to be using lore from the game called Raft, which a quick summary is basically the world got flooded. And because the world was flooding, some rich people built a giant floaty and built a city on top of it. So I'm going to be recreating that in Minecraft. And I'll tell you more and more about the lore of the base as I build it. But the first step is to find a massive body of water with no land nearby. And this body of water should be perfect. There's no land anywhere near. So now it's time to start building. You can tell by the picture I'm trying to base the build off of that it's a circular shape. So first I'll build a circular template and then go from there. Alright, now that the circular template's done, you can see just how big this base is really going to be. Now the next step is to build up the walls. By looking at the picture, you can tell that the walls are kind of gray. So I'm going to use various amounts of stone to build up this wall. And the best way to get stone quickly is to grab that beacon that I made, fully power it up, and start insta-mining everything. Alright, I kind of went a little overkill and got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shulker boxes of a bunch of stone, which should definitely be enough stone to build up this whole wall. Now what I'll do to give the wall more texture is I'll place down a grindstone, and I'll use the grindstone to give texture to a bunch more blocks. Then I'll just start placing a bunch of the textured blocks like this while scrolling through my inventory to give the wall a nice texture. And I'd say that looks pretty good. So now I'll just continue that design all the way around the circle. Huh? Oh, I guess I'm going to sleep first. And then I can start building up the wall. And that's majority of the wall done, but it does look a little bland. So what I'll do is I'll add a little bit of texture on top by going 1 block back and building 2 blocks high. Then I'll go back 1 block forward. And there you go. It's simple, but I think it adds a lot more to the wall. So I'll continue doing that all the way around the wall. And And yeah, that definitely makes the wall look better. It just adds a whole nother level of extra detail. So now all I have to do to finish the wall is just add the finishing touches, like the door frame and these big yellow arrows all around the base. Now that's all the wall complete, and I think it looks amazing. But my oh my, does it ever look good at night. Just look how beautiful those legs make the wall look. Okay, now that I'm done oogling how pretty the wall is, I'll start filling in the top of the wall with some grass. And while you watch this satisfying time lapse of me filling in the wall, I'll explain to you my plans for the rest of the base going forward. Okay, so now that I've finished the wall part of the original picture I was referencing, we don't need that picture anymore. Because I don't want to just copy something that's already been built and make that my base. I want to build something that's unique. So in order to do that, I'm still going to keep the same lore idea that the raft has, but I'm going to alter it to make it more Minecrafty. And I'll do that by, instead of making a group of human architects make a giant floating city, I'll make it a group of super advanced villagers making a giant flotation device to preserve their tree of life. Which I'll make that tree of life a cherry tree, because obviously cherry tree is the most pretty tree in the game. And I'll make the reason for them to preserve that tree of life is because that's the only way new villagers get born. So I'll put a very inhumane villager breeder in that tree to make it seem like that's actually producing villagers, but in reality, all it's doing is just having two villagers enslaved and permanently making babies with each other for the rest of time. But don't tell them that. Anyway, I'll make their houses advanced villager houses, so they won't be made out of wood and cobblestone. They'll be made out of things like quartz and nice materials to make them look more modern and sophisticated. And yeah, that's basically my plan for the base. And now that the circle's fully filled with dirt, the next thing I'm gonna do is start building up that tree. And to do that, I'm gonna need a lot of cherry wood. And I am way too lazy to go get all that cherry wood manually. So I'm just gonna build a tree farm. This looks like a nice spot to put it, so now let's build it. Okay, now it's done. All I have to do is sit here with an auto clicker on and the farm will chop down all the wood for me until I run out of bone meal, which has already happened. So I'll just make a bone meal farm real quick. Okay, now that that's all done, I just have to sit here until I have enough wood to build up the entire tree. Okay, and after sitting in that farm for hours, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a half double chests of wood, which should definitely be enough to build up the whole trunk and the branches. So, let's get to building. Okay, now that the tree trunk's done, I'm gonna add branches to the side of the trunk. And to do that, I need leaves, and rods, and glowstone. Then I can put the branches on. Alright, now that's all the branches done. It kind of looks like a snowflake right now from the top, but that's okay. The last thing to do to complete the whole tree is to put a bunch of leaves on the top, but I already used all the leaves I got on these small branches on the side. So it's time to go see how many more shears I can break. Okay, after a couple hours and 26 shears later, I have a lot of leaves. And it should definitely be enough leaves to finish up the top of the tree. So let's finally finish building this tree. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Drumroll, please. It looks not as I thought it would look. But the only reason I think it looks kind of bad right now is because of these little branches that I put on the side. I think if I remove those branches and just keep the tree trunk normal, then it'll look a lot better. And I think I have a pretty good way of removing those branches from the side. And it may or may not have to do with something that's in my hand right now. Maybe that was a little bit too dramatic, but the tree definitely looks a lot cleaner now. The only problem now is that the tree is way too dark, and there's mobs all over the tree. So I'll fix that by adding end rods all over the tree. And the reason I'll put end rods instead of some other light source is because I have end rods hanging off the leaves on the top of the tree. So it'll look like these end rods are growing on the leaves and falling down all over the tree, which I think will look very cool. So let me just place end rods all around the tree now. Okay, now the tree part of the build is finally done. So the next step is to build the villager breeder inside of the tree. To do that, first I'll light up the inside of the tree because there is a lot of mobs in here. And now that the tree's all lit up, I can build the actual villager breeder. So the first step is to build a farm so the villagers can constantly be breeding with each other because they're going to be constantly feeding each other food. Then I need to enclose that farm so these villagers can't escape. I'll give them some beds so they can get freaky and make babies. Then I'll add a little collection unit that the babies will fall into. And now it's time to actually put the villagers in the farm, which I'll do by using my nether portal to go back to my starting village and collect 2 lucky candidates to be trapped in this farm for the rest of time. Okay. But I don't have enough rails to transport these villagers from portal to portal, and I'm kind of broke right now because I used all my iron on my beacon. So I'll just steal some iron from the beacon to make some rails, and that should definitely be enough rails. Then I just have to connect these rails from the 2 nether portals and safely push the villagers through. Oh, well, this is annoying. They don't go through the portal with the minecart, so I have to take them out of the minecart and then push them through the portal. Oh god, I hope this doesn't take a long time.
2 hours later.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, I finally got them through the portal, man. That took way too long. Oh, now I have to do that another time. Hopefully that time's way easier than this. And the other portal was actually way easier to get them through. Then once they're in the breeder and they're all good, I can give them some carrots. They'll get freaky, make a baby, and the baby will fall down into the collection system. And once he becomes an adult, he can just swim out the top and roam free wherever he wants. Because remember, I'm not trying to enslave these villagers. I'm building them a paradise here, so I'm a nice guy. Just excuse the fact that I have 2 villagers permanently stuck in a villager breeder for the rest of their lives. If you ignore that, then I'm a nice guy. And speaking of being a nice guy, it's time for me to build these villagers their new and improved houses. So what I'll do is I'll go into a creative world and I'll use basic villager houses as templates. So I'll use this small village hut as a template to make the futuristic version of the hut. I'll change this wood and cobblestone for deep slate and quartz because I think that looks very futuristic. But I'll keep the same design and basic shape that the house has so it doesn't get too far away from what a normal village should be. So now I'll just make a futuristic version of every villager house that's on screen now in creative. Then once I have the design made, I can put it in the hardcore world. So this is what a basic villager hut looks like. This is what another version of the basic villager hut will look like. This is what a village well looks like. This is the template for the village farms. Then we have a village blacksmith. Then the village large house, the village library, and last but not least, the village tall house. Okay, now that I have the layouts for the houses made, I need to get the materials to actually build the houses. I'm gonna need a bunch of other materials too, but for now, all I need is quartz and deep slate. Okay, I got really bored of mining, so I ended up with 1.5 shulker boxes of each material, which should definitely be enough materials to build most of the houses. So I'll start off by building a large villager house, and I'll put it on a 1-block elevation, so not everything is flat on the same level, which will make everything look better in the end. Then across from the villager house, I'll put a small villager hut and a small village farm. next I'll build the village library. But because the village library, blacksmith, and tall house are all big buildings, I'll place each of them on the middle outer part of the circle. So in between each big building, I can have small houses and other designs. So now I have to figure out what I want to put in between the library and the large villager house. And I think the perfect thing to put in between these two houses would be a natural looking farm. I'll start by adding a well, because how else are you going to water the plants? Then I'll turn all the grass into farmland, and I'll add a small village hut on the sides so the farmer who maintains the farm has a nice place to sleep. And this quarter of the build looks pretty good now. And remember, I'm going to do all the terraforming and prettying up the land after I'm done placing all the houses in. And now the next thing I'm going to add in is something that's in every single Minecraft hardcore world. A multicolored sheep farm. Yes, I know, very original. Hold your applause, guys, hold your applause. But for real though, I think the multicolored sheep farm will look really cool in this quarter of the build. So I don't care if you're judging me, I'm going to do it. Okay, now that the pens are all done, I have to bring a sheep from there to here, which these two sheep look very breedable, so I'll bring them over, and I'll keep breeding the sheep while I build up the rest of this place until I have enough sheep to fill up every pen with every color of sheep. Then next to the sheep farm, I'll build 2 small huts and a tall villager house. And next to that, I'll build a small village hut and a well. And as I try to go to sleep, you can see that there's a lot of villagers roaming around right now. So I gotta start making these houses way quicker. So I'll place a blacksmith here. Then I'll make a small hut across from the blacksmith. And in between the blacksmith, I'll make another farm, but this time instead of it being a wheat farm, I'll make it a carrot farm. I'll put some custom trees in between the farm and the blacksmith. Then to the right of the blacksmith, I'll add another small villager hut. And lastly, I'll make a lake in between the small villager hut and the large villager house. Okay, now all the houses are in place, so the villagers aren't going to be roaming around and getting in my face all the time. They actually have a place to live now. But now what I need to do is pretty the place up. And I'll start prettying the place up by actually adding a proper pathway through the entire place. And the path fits the village very well, but I think it's still missing something. And what it's missing is some railings around the path. So I'll make a simple railing design like this, and I'll continue that all the way around the path. And yeah, this railing design makes the path look way better. But at night, the path gets really dark. So to fix that, I'll add these cool light posts on the side of the railings, and these cool little tree designs. Then I'll keep alternating between the light posts and the small tree all the way around. Okay, now almost all of the village is complete. I just need to do a couple more things. And one of those things is prettying the place up. So first I'll add a bunch of different flowers along the outside of the circle. I'll make a little camp on this empty spot. Then I'll put a bunch more flowers down and bone meal everything, and put lights like this in bushes so no mobs can spawn. And just like that, all the base is prettied up and she looks beautiful all the way around. And now there's only one more thing to do for the outer side of the base. And that's actually make an entrance into the tree. And to make it look realistic, I'll make it look like the tree got mossed over, which made the wood soft and made an entrance form. And that's all the outside of the base done. Now I need to complete all the interiors. So for the tree interior, I want to keep it mostly wood to show that the villagers haven't tampered with it much, so they don't mess up the power of the magical villager breeder inside the tree. But I'll add quartz walls on the side to make it seem like the quartz walls are helping hold up the tree. And I'll make the roof out of wooden leaves to make it look like it's still a part of the tree. Then I'll add some beds in here so the villagers who don't have a house to sleep in can sleep in here. And now for the interior of the small houses. There's not a lot of space in these small houses, so all I'll do is I'll add a bed, crafting table, a furnace, and a lamp, and I'll do that for all 7 small houses. Okay, now moving on to the 4 bigger houses. I'll start with the tall villager house, and as you can see, this one has a lot more space inside, so I need to be more creative on what I put inside. But I'm not going to go too over the top with the detailing, because this is just a villager house, so I'll add a nice kitchen next to the front door. Then I'll add a dining table, and upstairs, I'll make a nice bedroom. Which for a villager house, I'd say it looks very good. Next, I'll do the blacksmith, which there's not a lot of space in the interior part of the blacksmith, so I'll keep the interior design simple. I'll do the large village house next, which there's a lot of space in here, so I'll build another kitchen, another dining table, and there's not a lot of space upstairs, so I'll just put a bed in the corner here. And now the last interior design to do is the library. And I think it's going to be pretty obvious what's going to go inside here. Yep, you guessed it, just a bunch of bookshelves. That's now all the interiors done, but there's one crucial part of this base that's still missing, and it's something that every single base has. Do you know what it is? Yeah, it's a place for me to live, because I've built all these villagers their nice houses and I've built them a nice little city, but I haven't given myself a house. So like the gremlin I am, I'm gonna live under the village. Now I haven't built the floor under here yet, but since I still have a bunch of stone and andesite left over from when I built up the walls, I'll fill in all of the floor with the leftover material. Alright, now the floor looks pretty nice, but the roof is still just a bunch of dirt. So I'll use this design for the roof, and I'll show you guys a little magic trick. If I just look right here and say the words toom 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 3 times, the roof gets completely finished. And thanks to my magical powers, the roof looks really, really good also. So now I actually need to add things in here, but it's a really big space. So I'll start small by adding another portal here. Then I'll get some spruce to spruce it up. And I'll add a cool design around the nether portal. Okay, now that's done, I'll make a path from the nether portal to the middle. Because all the stone is blending in together, I think it'll be better to differentiate with a spruce path. And I'll make those spruce paths connect to everything down here eventually. But the next thing I'll make is an enchanting setup. And I'll continue using spruce because I think the spruce looks really good down here. And that's the enchanting setup all done. I'll connect this one to the middle with the path too. And now the last thing I'll put down here to officially make it a home is a proper bedroom. And don't worry, the rest of the space that I didn't use down here, I'll be filling up in another video. So, you know, press subscribe so you can see that video. Anyway, I'm not gonna make an ordinary bedroom. I'm gonna make a classic 2016 bedroom. So I'll shear my red sheep to get the red wool, and I'll make classic red beds, then build up the frame for the bed. And place diamond and gold all around. And with my cool bedroom complete, with my dragon head and dragon egg, I can finally rest. And as always, I hope you enjoyed.